I'm going to show you how to set up the Vic Firth percussion kit. This kit includes not only the bell set, a practice pad, and a snare drum. You might have a slightly different kit than this, but this basically will apply to all Vic Firth kits. Let's start off with the base of the snare drum stand. What you're going to notice about the base is that it has two thumb screws in the middle and on the top. What we're going to do is loosen those up slightly. Don't have to take them all the way out, just loosen them up, and then we're going to expand the legs. Now, I've seen students who will get a leg caught and they'll pull on this and actually bend this. So want to make sure that all of these legs extend evenly and smoothly out. Want to get a good solid base and then turn in the thumb screw just enough to make a secure connection. Don't need to over tighten that. That's the base. Now we're going to take the top of the practice pad kit, the one that has a screw on the top. We're going to insert the post into the base and tighten that down. The practice pad has a screw hole in the center. Essentially all I'm going to do is set that on top of the screw, give it a whirl, and the practice pad's all set up, ready to go. Essentially, setting up the snare drum uses the same kind of concepts, but the top of the stand is quite a bit different. So let's go through that real quick. What you're going to see here at the top of this stand is a thumb screw that allows us to angle the basket assembly. Essentially, you're able to angle your drum at almost any angle. What I like to do is have my students set it up straight up and down. So I want the post and the basket assembly to be straight up and down, then I'm going to tighten this thumb screw. The base, this post fits into the base of the stand. Going to tighten that slightly and then extend the basket arms. Now, your basket arms might have come where it's not large enough to accept the snare drum. We want to make sure that we loosen or unthread this screw all the way so that the basket arms are big enough for us to set the snare drum in. Now we're going to take our snare drum, and this is really, really important, that the bottom head is very thin. So we want to take extra special care that we do not place the snare drum on any one of these basket arms. So what I'm trying to do here is to lay the snare drum on top of the basket, making sure that none of those arms poke through the bottom head. Pay special attention to that. Finally, you want to tighten up the bottom threaded screw to close the arms upon the drum. Okay, this is important because if somebody accidentally hits your drum, if it's not tight on there, it could knock your drum all the way over. So once that's tight, you should be able to lift up your snare drum and the drum stand will come with it. Now we're going to adjust the height of our drum to fit your body perfectly. This is a very important step because we want to make sure our drum is at the right height so when we begin to learn to play, it's not too low or not too high. It's going to really affect your technique. So here are the steps to do that. Take your hand, extend it out where all 5 fingers are spread apart. Now your thumb, I want you to put in your belly button. It's like this. Roll your hand down at that point where your pinky lays is exactly the right height for you for your snare drum. So if you notice, I'm going to walk up to my snare drum. My snare drum is much too low for my body. So I'm going to raise that snare drum up. To raise up your snare drum, and this is really important, you've got to grip the post with one hand while you loosen the nut with the other. Don't just loosen the thumb screw because the drum will just drop down and possibly damage your equipment. So you have to make sure that you have some muscle. I'm gripping this with my left hand and I'm going to open the thumb screw with my right. Then I can adjust up and down my snare drum. Once I get it to my desired height, I tighten that thumb screw up and I'm all set. Okay, give that another quick check. I'm in a perfect height position for my body, so everything is all set. This is what I have my students do. Take a felt tip marker and go to the post right here and place a mark on the post where it meets the base of the stand. In this way, when I'm setting up the top of my snare drum stand or my practice pad stand, I can get it perfect every single time. That'll save a lot of time in the long run. Now that we have your snare drum set up in the right position, let's tune it to make it sound great.